Do you find it impossible to switch off, even after work? Do you overthink everything and find it hard to be present in your own life? Do you find yourself stuck in a cycle of responsibilities, life demands, and chores without time to really invest in your emotional, spiritual, or physical health? If you're craving more balance, if you're yearning to feel calmer and clearer and more in control of your own life, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do exactly just that. If you watched my previous video on why you can't relax, you would have been introduced to my client Annalene. Annalene is a CFO of a major logistics company. She is married with 2 children and she's constantly navigating a fast-paced, demanding family and work life. She went from feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and exhausted every day to creating work-life balance for her. This meant spending more time with her children and her husband and investing time on her weekends in hobbies that she really enjoyed, like horse riding with her 2 little girls. She felt calmer and more in control of her life, and this was without lowering her standards or dropping the ball at work. So if this sounds like you, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the shifts that helped Annalene get to this point and that will help you too feel calmer and more in control in your life, especially if you feel like you've been in survival mode, always doing, but never feeling at peace. By the end of this video, you'll be able to recognize what's been quietly draining your energy, and you'll understand why it's been so hard for you to slow down, even though you've desperately wanted to. And you'll walk away with insights on how to practically feel calmer and more control on the inside without lowering your standards or dropping the ball in areas of your life. But first, I want to ask you a question. If more to-dos would calm you and eliminate your anxiety, wouldn't you have stopped feeling that way by now? What I'm trying to say is that if chasing the next thing on your to-do list, if saying yes to the next request by the family member, the colleague, or the friend, if working harder or staying later or trying to prove yourself more were the answer to your overwhelm, your exhaustion, and your anxiety, wouldn't it be gone by now? So let's go back to my client Annalene for a moment. Annalene parents her children. She runs her department at work. She helps her husband in managing his business, and she wakes up at 3 a.m. just to fit in exercise. She's committed and she's capable. On paper, she had it all handled, but on the inside, she was exhausted and running on empty, and felt empty too. She felt exhausted, overwhelmed, and frustrated all the time. And this wasn't because she lacked discipline. It was because she didn't know how to give herself permission to rest and relax. She filled every spare moment of hers with doing something that added value. Being productive wasn't just a habit for her. It was a measure of her worth, of how she felt about herself. If she wasn't ticking something off her to-do list, she felt like she was wasting time. And when she did find herself resting or doing something non-work related, like spending time with her children, for example, she'd feel irritated with herself because she would always be overthinking about the other things that she should have been doing. Even attending social events with her husband and her family started to feel like pressure for Annalene. It felt like one more thing to add to her list of things to do, one more reason to fall behind, one more pressure added to her day. Her entire life revolved around work demands, errands, and caretaking. She had no presence in her own life. And more than anything, she wanted to feel joy again, to feel like herself, not just to feel like a to-do list in motion every single day. But everything changed for Annalene when she learned how to stop abandoning herself through private coaching with me. She learned how to prioritize her well-being emotionally, spiritually, and physically without apologizing for it and without feeling guilty. She stopped making decisions based on other people's expectations and started doing what was good for her. And she finally came back home to herself. She didn't constantly feel that underlying hum of anxiety in her life anymore. She felt calm and she felt in control. And when she began doing things that actually nurtured her spirit and nurtured herself, her family started seeing the benefits of that increased joy too, because now she wasn't pouring from an empty cup anymore. So if you can resonate with this and you're wondering what actually makes this work, how did Annalene get to this point? It wasn't a productivity system. It wasn't a time management hack. It was her returning to herself, building a sense of self, self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth. And in that process, she stopped abandoning herself and started prioritizing herself. It starts with uncovering the hidden beliefs that are driving your anxiety, your overwhelm, and your exhaustion. And then it continues with building an identity, a strong identity that's not dependent on being perfect, pleasing other people, or abandoning or sacrificing yourself. And as you build your self-esteem, as you build your self-worth and your self-confidence, your relationship with yourself deepens. And as your relationship with yourself deepens, you learn to stand up for yourself, to speak up for yourself, and to take care of yourself without apology and without guilt. And so you don't need to become someone else to feel better. You need to build a loving, honest relationship with yourself, in which your value and your worth is not dependent on other people's expectations, on pleasing other people, on trying to be perfect or trying to be strong all the time. But there is a part where it gets tricky, where you need help and support. Because those beliefs that are driving your behaviors, you can't see them. They are so normal to you that they are hidden in your everyday decisions and your everyday behaviors. They are so familiar to you that you don't even notice them yourself. And so that's why you feel bad for resting. You feel selfish for saying no, and you feel lazy for wanting a sense of ease. And if this continues, instead of slowing down, you push harder. You fill every gap with another task. You make it to the end of the day, but you still feel dissatisfied, behind, incomplete. And then you wonder why you're still anxious, exhausted, and overwhelmed. And so the shift begins here. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to keep proving your worth. And you don't need to abandon yourself to keep proving that you're good enough and that you can get results. What you do need is a new internal foundation, one that is rooted in self-worth and self-confidence, not self-sacrifice. And that is exactly what I help my clients build, not through force, but through gentle, lasting inner work. We identify the hidden beliefs that are silently shaping your behavior currently that's working against you. We identify where you are overfunctioning, and I teach you how to shift into healthy, empowered boundaries. Together we create new ways of thinking, feeling, and responding in a way that actually supports the life that you want to create for yourself, one of confidence, control, and calm. You're allowed to live with ease. You're allowed to trust yourself. And you're allowed to learn how to let go of the pressure to do everything perfectly and alone. So if you're stuck in these cycles of anxiety and exhaustion, and you want to create more balance, more ease, more peace, more joy in your life, the first step is to gain self-awareness of the invisible pattern that is shaping your current behavior and decisions. That's why I've created a 5-minute quiz for you that reveals your exact pattern that's making your life harder than it should feel right now, an understanding of why you feel stuck despite working hard and despite your efforts, and a clear, personalized first step towards shifting that pattern without needing to lower your standards or drop the ball in any area of your life. The link for the free quiz is in the description box below. Please don't forget to comment and tell me what you're taking away from this video. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.